In New Jersey, there is the Delaware and Raritan Canal. It's 77 miles long of unpaved trail. There are some areas where there are some cobblestones, and with their uneven degrees of surface area, it can be quite challenging to ride. But over the years in riding my EUC, I got really comfortable and I never had a fall. But one day,
this one is actually not a...
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
This one is actually not a... Oh, it's good. It's going to be on video. I'm all right, man.
You okay, man?
Yeah. Good thing I got my pads.
You hit that thing.
I hit that.
Yes.
Yes. It's going to be a nice post.
I'm sorry to say this, but the funny thing is you said this is not as bad as you wiped
Oh,
out.
man.
the time from point of error to ground impact took less than 1 second. How did I even have time to react? How come I was not badly injured? So how did I optimize my ride to prevent severe injury? In that 1 second gap, without the optimal gear and knowing the proper way how to land, I could have had severe injuries. I could have torn the ligaments of my knee. I could have fractured the bones of my wrist, the bones of my forearm. I could have easily dislocated my shoulder, clavicular fracture if I landed the wrong way, facial mandibular fracture, and worst of all, intracerebral bleed. The only injuries I sustained was a jammed thumb and hitting the top of my foot, which were both mild. I had already talked about the proper tuck and roll in my previous video, The Wheel and the Way of Bruce and Jackie. However, in this section, what we're going to talk about is the gear that I wear, that I've adapted and kept modifying through the years. So on that day at the Delaware and Raritan Canal, this is the gear that I was wearing that really saved me. First, the helmet that I'm wearing has a chin guard. Now, of course, this is not the optimal type of helmet. I would recommend this Belt Super 3R. This will really protect you from a faceplant. I was lucky that I was able to initiate the tuck and roll very quickly within less than 1 second. If it were not for that, all the gear on the road is really not going to help you. So basically, you need a nice, good, full-face helmet. Again, by the grace of God and a little bit of some skill, I was able to avoid a faceplant. Now, not too long ago, I would say about 2 months ago, I had fallen and I was doing seated riding, and I was using these elbow pads, the G-Form. The G-Form elbow pads, I do not recommend. These have 3DO impact absorbing technology, and just the fact that it's a very thin material, I really don't recommend this. I suffered a bone contusion, and bone contusion basically is not a fracture, not like the compact bone fracture that you usually see where there's a disconnection. It's more of the inner trabecular mesh network where you have the bones being damaged, a micro fracture. And that took 7 to 8 weeks to fully heal. I did not need a cast because, as I said before, it's not really the full-blown. So I do not recommend these G-Form elbow pads. So since that injury 8 weeks prior, I wanted to look elbow pads that were really very strong and had strong impact absorbing technology. And these are what I found. These by Lietz elbow pads. I took a hard fall in the Delaware and Raritan Canal, and if it weren't for these, I think I would have probably had another bone contusion. I had landed on this part of the elbow. I did not feel it at all, and it was a pretty deep impact as you had seen there in the video. Now, if I had landed again using these G-Form elbow pads, I don't think I don't think I would be here to discuss it because this is flimsy. Yeah, sure, it has the technology, but I do not recommend these. These I highly recommend. The Liats elbow pads. Now let's talk about wrist guards. FlexMeter D30 wrist guards are the best by far. These were designed by a trauma surgeon, and it's important that you keep these sliders because the sliding will prevent your hand when you fall. If you don't have these sliders, what happens is your wrist will get stuck on the asphalt, and it's going to eventually hyper extend, which will result in a wrist fracture. So keep these sliders as EUCers. Again, FlexMeter D30, perfect. I also have regarding knee pads, I also have G-form knee pads. I use these for mellow rides. I wouldn't recommend these for high velocity rides simply by the fact that these G-forms for my elbow was not enough for me to prevent the bone contusion. I guess these look nice for mellow rides, but I would recommend these. I would recommend the Liats knee pads. When I had fallen, I had landed on this side of the knee. Here it is, right here. When I had fallen here, it formed such a big gash. I could just imagine if it weren't for these, I would have a big cut and probably broken some bones. So the Liats saved me. I don't think that these knee pads, these G-form knee pads would have been enough. I probably would have felt sharp pain. A close second to the knee guards are these by Demon United. I think these are excellent. These are half the price of the Liats knee guards. These cost me, I think, like $50, but they're excellent. Now, it doesn't allow you to slide as much as the Liats, and I think this would have been able to tolerate a fall on hard stone like this kind of hard stone. This would have tolerated it. I think this would come a close second. If you don't want to spend $100 on good knee pads like the Liats, I would recommend these, the Demon United knee pads. Now let's say you don't want to spend that much. The Wasawi knee guards. I'm afraid this Velcro might fall off during a slide, so I would reinforce these. And for I think $35, this is a good coverage. But definitely the Liats knee guards are the best. You need some protection for the eyes, so wear goggles. You don't want sand go in there, insect go in there, and you're going at high speed or even low speed, and then you're squinting, get distracted. That would be bad. Having the right side pads helps also. These side pads do not have the interlocking feature on the rear side. This allows me to bail out very quickly, and it's very secure and allows me to jump with no problems. I recently have a new one, but I haven't had time to try it out yet. I intend to use it. It's slightly bigger, there's more gap, so I should be able to actually bail out faster with this type of side pads. What about Bobblebee? This backpack has CE Level 2 spine protectors. However, it costs $300 to $400. In this situation, the rider was saved from injuring his back as well as hitting the back of his head. However, this backpack will hinder you in being able to roll around. I want to be limber and be able to get out of danger when I fall. Compare this situation, which is what most of us will be when we fall. See how limber this rider is when he fell. He quickly applied the perfect tuck and roll. He was able to get up quickly and out of danger if need be. In addition, all my motorcycle jackets already have back protectors too. So for me, I will stick to my $35 Kensington backpack with ballistic nylon material. My Kensington backpack without back protector on my shirt was more than sufficient to protect my back from the hard, uneven stone when I fell. My backpack is tough, durable, and able to let me do my evasive maneuver without breaking my wallet. Do not get distracted. Had I been distracted when I had fallen at the Delaware and Raritan Canal, I don't think I would be able to talk with no injury at all, because I had less than 1 second to react. So you need to have three components. You need excellent gear, optimal gear. You need to be able to know how to land properly, so keep practicing those tuck and rolls when you have nothing better to do. Before I had this serious injury where I fractured my rib, I relied on my skill from what I learned from 30 years ago when I was taking Taekwondo and we started Okemi, the science of falling. Since I cracked my rib in 2019, I decided to take a very methodical approach and research the appropriate tuck and roll. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos. So now once in a while, I just do a tuck and roll on the grass, just get myself motivated. And when you're going and you're about to fall, if you're at a certain angle, that sets you up for a tuck and roll. By swaying, carving left and right, that actually sets you up for a tuck and roll. Should there be an unexpected crash, by swaying, it sets you up for excellent tuck and roll. Please, absolutely pay attention. Pay attention. That is the most important thing. If you're going to take anything from this, pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to your doing, do your tuck and roll, and absolutely have the optimal gear at hand. That's about it. I hope you liked this video. And if you really liked it, I would appreciate it if you click and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time.